This morning, I heard a very prominent, well-respected businessman, a former president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, and chairman of the Wisinco group of companies, William Mafood. His views were canvassed on Dennis Cheung. And he said this morning, Dennis is one of the most unbiased persons he has ever worked with.
I worked closely with Dennis at the PSOJ, and as a matter of fact, I think we were unique from the terms in the context that I was president, he was the executive director during the transition in administrations from the PNP to the Labour Party. And Dennis worked closely with both governments. I'll never forget the meetings that we had with the Prime Minister, with the Partnership Council, at the time Portia Simpson Miller and her team, and then following on from that, as the new administration came in with Prime Minister Holness, it was, and I would say to you that Dennis is one of the most unbiased persons that I've ever worked with. It was, I don't know if you remember the NSWMA. At the time, I was the president of the PSOJ, and NSWMA, under the PNP, had all of the issues with the fires.
Yes.
And I came out very, very aggressively and said, this has to stop. And that the NSWMA needed to put somebody there as chairman and a proper board. One of my vice presidents was Butch Hendrickson. He agreed to sit on the board. And it was under the PNP administration that Dennis was appointed chairman of the NSWMA.
In 2015.
Right. And then right before, that was right before the election.
Yes.
And he was maintained as chairman of NSWMA through the transition of administration. So I find it, a little disingenuous by the opposition to come out at this time and state, this is somebody that was appointed by Portia Simpson Miller to the chairman of NSWMA. I understand we're in a silly season, right? This is election time. And people would use whatever opportunity to try and create a noise or a little excitement around the election. But it's unfortunate to try and put a gentleman of Dennis's reputation on the line. I just find it very, very unfortunate.
William Mafood. He also told Turner and George this morning that the PNP's argument that Dennis is unqualified for the job is simply not compelling.
When you look at a man like Dennis and the weight of his CV and say that he's unqualified to serve as chief technical director, does that make sense to you?